All right, let's talk pear trees. If you've got them, you know just how amazing they are. But man, you also know that keeping them healthy can feel like a full-time job, right? So in this explainer, we're going to break down the 5 biggest troublemakers and, more importantly, how you can actually stop them.
And this quote, wow, it just hits home, doesn't it? It gets to the very heart of the problem. You can do everything perfectly, year after year, and then boom, one unexpected storm changes the game. A tree that felt like a permanent part of the landscape can suddenly become fragile. It's a really powerful reminder.
And just look at this. This is what we're talking about. This isn't some slow, graceful decline. This is a full-on aggressive infection. What started as a simple crack in a limb from that storm, well, that was the open door. So the biggest takeaway here is that even the healthiest tree isn't invincible. All it takes is one opening for disease to rush in. So that really begs the question, right? How do these diseases even get a foothold in the first place? Well, it almost always boils down to a perfect storm of 3 things: stress on the tree, way too much moisture, and some kind of physical wound. Humid weather, branches that are too crowded, a fresh cut from pruning. That's the ideal breeding ground for fungus and bacteria. Which is why today, our goal is to turn you into an orchard detective. We're not just going to rattle off a list of scary-sounding diseases. Nope. We're going to learn how to read the clues. Every weird spot, every curled leaf, every dark branch, that's all evidence. And if you can spot that evidence early enough, you can solve the case before it's too late. Okay, detective, you ready? It's time to meet the usual suspects. The 5 most wanted culprits in the pear tree world. Knowing how they operate is absolutely the first step to protecting your harvest. Now, this is a great starting point. It gives us a fantastic visual of our first 4 suspects: Fire Blight, Pear Scab, Powdery Mildew, and Rust. You can see them right there. But did you catch that little hint at the bottom, our 5th suspect? That one's different. That one's the sneaky one, the hidden killer that does all its dirty work completely out of sight. We'll get to that one in a bit. First up, let's start with the big one, public enemy number 1, Fire Blight. Seriously, if you only learn to spot one disease, make it this one. It is aggressive, it is fast, and it can wipe out a young orchard in a single wet spring before you even know what hit you. So what is this thing? Well, it's a nasty bacterial infection. It gets in through the blossoms or a little cut, and basically, it just torches the tree from the inside out. It chokes off the water and nutrients, and that new growth just withers and dies, giving it that classic scorched look. And this picture, it just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you see the total devastation. But on the right, those are your clues. You gotta look for those blackened shoots that look like they've literally been hit with a blowtorch. And the most classic sign of all is that shepherd's crook, where the tip of a new shoot just droops over into a hook. That is the smoking gun. Okay, so you see it. What do? Listen up, this part is not negotiable. First, you have to be ruthless. Cut that infected branch out and go way below where you see any damage, like a good 8 to 12 inches below. The infection runs deeper than you think. And here's the absolute most critical part, step 2. You have to sterilize your pruners between every single cut. If you don't, you're just becoming the disease's personal chauffeur, spreading it all over the tree yourself. All right, next up in our case files, the fungal foes. Now, unlike Fire Blight's lightning attack, these guys are a bit more of a slow burn. But don't be fooled, they can still seriously weaken your tree and completely wreck your fruit for the year. So let's look at the clues. So let's talk about 2 that get mixed up all the time, Pear Scab and Rust. But the clues are actually pretty distinct once you know what to look for. Scab gives you these dark, kind of velvety, sooty-looking spots on both the fruit and the leaves. Rust, on the other hand, well, it looks exactly like rust. Bright orange, rusty spots, and you'll usually see them on the leaves. And here we go, a perfect side-by-side. You can really see how the scab actually makes the fruit all lumpy and gross with those scaly olive-brown lesions. And then the rust is more like these distinct orange freckles on the leaves. 2 totally different signatures when you see them up close. Our final fungal foe just loves the exact same weather our pear trees love. You know, those beautiful, warm, sunny days followed by cool, damp nights? Yeah, for powdery mildew, that's the sweet spot. It's the perfect recipe for this really common garden pest. And you can't miss this one. It literally looks like someone walked by and sprinkled flour all over the new leaves and shoots. That white film might look harmless, but it's basically like a tiny little solar panel blocker, starving the leaf of sunlight, stunting its growth, and weakening the whole tree over time.
It's a dead giveaway that you've got poor air circulation.
Okay, it's time. Time to unmask our fifth and final suspect. This is the one that's been hiding in the shadows, the one that works underground. We're talking about crown and root rot. It's a silent killer because by the time you see that something's wrong up top, the damage below is often already severe and maybe even too late to fix.
So how do you spot a killer you can't see? You have to look at the whole tree's body language. Is it just not growing? Are the leaves turning yellow for no good reason? Does it suddenly look wilted on a hot day? If you see that, the crime scene isn't on the branches. It's down at the base of the trunk, where the roots are literally drowning in soggy, suffocating soil.
Whew, okay. We've met the suspects. Now for the most important part. How do we stop them? Because being a great orchard detective isn't just about solving the crime, right? It's about preventing it from ever happening in the first place. Let's get your toolkit ready.
And this right here, this is the foundation. It's not about crazy, complicated sprays or treatments. It's about the simple, core habits of a healthy orchard. Keeping things clean, letting the air flow, giving your trees space, and maybe most importantly, just getting in a routine of walking around and paying attention.
And if we're really going to zero in on fighting those fungal bad guys, scab, rust, and mildew, these 4 rules are your Bible. Sanitation is number 1. You have got to get those old infected leaves and fruit out of there from last season. Good airflow from proper pruning is a close second because fungus just hates a nice breeze. And of course, good drainage stops that hidden killer, root rot, dead in its tracks.
Now this is your ultimate cheat sheet, the Pear Tree Problem Solver. It connects the visual clue, what you see, directly to the suspect and the immediate action you need to take. Seriously, print this thing out. Hang it on the wall of your shed. This one page basically summarizes our entire investigation.
So, if there's one single thing you take away from all this, it's this. Your own 2 eyes are your absolute best tool. Disease almost always starts small. A single weird leaf, one blackened tip, a couple of orange spots. And catching it then, when it's small and isolated, that's the whole ballgame. That's the difference between a quick snip and losing an entire tree.
And that's a wrap for us. So I'm going to leave you with this question to take out there with you. The next time you walk among your trees, now that you know what to look for, what's the very first sign of trouble you're going to have your eyes peeled for?